All right, so some big things happening with Coinbase and Base today, and we're going to break down a little bit about on-chain summer and what that might mean around a ton of projects that are starting to roll out and what it could mean for Ethereum. So we're going to break it all down for you. It's going to be good. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into TechPath. I want to thank our sponsors. That is iTrust Capital. If you guys are looking at long-term holding for your crypto, let's do it in an IRA. It's very easy to set up and it's super simple. And the best thing is the fees are low. So all you guys have to do is click the link down below, use our code. It does help the channel out. And of course, you get a $100 funding reward if you decide to do it. All right, so let's get into a couple of points here. And one thing I want to hit on first is this tweet right here. Just in, Coinbase becomes first publicly traded company to launch its own decentralized blockchain, Base. This is big, in my opinion, because of the fact that obviously it has to be Coinbase to do this because they are one of the only real ones out there that are, of course, a publicly traded company. But I think this also could lead the way for many others. So this is a good picture for Coinbase, and I think it's a good picture for the industry as a whole. Here's on-chain summer. Just so you guys know, this, of course, today is launch day. I think we're going to get this video out. So you'll notice that the story of Base is bringing the world on-chain and to be continued. Now, there are some things that are happening within this. There's a little bit about the community. You can kind of learn about Jesse Pollack. He's one of the leads over there. But you get into the projects that are upcoming here. And as you can see, parallels in here, AnotherBlock. We'll talk a little bit about them. Coca-Cola, Stand with Crypto, Blackbird, a restaurant application, and so on. Point is that this is going to get big. I think that this is just the beginning. We're going to see some pretty amazing things come out of this. I want to go over to a clip real quick. And this will get into a little bit more detail on Brian Armstrong talking about on-chain summer and what it might mean. Listen in.
Going back to Coinbase, I think my biggest fear was always that Coinbase would be kind of this old, it basically would be the AOL of crypto. That it would be kind of old, it would be this fiat on-ramp, but it would forever be this centralized company in this decentralized world. And one of the reasons I'm really excited about Base is it's a true experiment that is crypto native, coming from what could have been sort of the centralized dinosaur.
It's really a celebration of on-chain art, culture, music, gaming, all the different pieces that are coming together to be built on Base. And we've got an amazing set of partners that we're launching with. So we've got a bunch of crypto native firms, Zora, OpenSea, Parallel, Blackbird. We've also got a bunch of legacy or traditional non-crypto companies. I don't want to call them legacy. Coca-Cola, Atari. So people can engage in a lot of real world utility at like restaurants or minting a Coke bottle. But there's also a bunch of on-chain stuff where people can start to engage.
And if you or your friend or your dad or your mom or your grandparents even just get one goal from those shots on goal, where they get to try one thing that appeals to them, whether it's music or food or art or gaming or social or messaging or community, like one thing that gets you to set up your first wallet, that gets you to do your first transaction, that gets you to experience what's happening on chain, and experience what you can create, what you can do, how you can participate. I think that that's how we bring 1 billion people into this new world.
All right, so a lot happened there in that clip. First of all, it's good to see Fred still kind of communicating. He's a co-founder of Coinbase with Brian. And if you don't know the story about Coinbase, you should watch their documentary. It's a good story about how they started and all that. But the cool thing is all this has evolved into what they're doing now on Base. And this, to me, is one of the most dynamic things that's happened in crypto, maybe since I even remember. And it's a very significant one. One of the tools they were using was Livepeer. This was their live streaming. This is, again, one of the key elements of how Base will be used in the future. But you got LensTube, Beam on here, Bonfire. We'll break down Bonfire here in a second, what they're doing. Some cool things. So the good thing is that this really starts to open up a lot of opportunities. And you probably heard us talk a little bit about Chainlink earlier this week around this topic. And of course, this was around Chainlink's price feeds. This is now live on Base. This is a layer 2 that, of course, is incubated now on Coinbase as well. Simply meaning live price feeds. So if you're thinking stock trading, crypto trading, etc., this is Chainlink and how they're going to be integrated. So if you're brand new to crypto, this will start to get into your everyday functionality and use cases around some of this more innovative tech in terms of apps, exchanges, and eventually what I think will happen with a lot of the trading platforms out there. So definitely a lot going in the right direction. Here, of course, it's Uniswap. We reported this on this week as well. What are you swapping on build on base? We want to know. This, of course, is live now, so good stuff there. Just to show you quickly, kind of the interface, it's very simple, very easy to do. So connecting your wallet, going directly into Coinbase, very easy to do the bridge here. So again, this is a big benefit for ease of use. And I think this is one of those things that kind of what Pollock and Armstrong were talking about is be able to get people onboarded very simply in a way that's passionate for them. So that's a cool thing and what will apply going forward. Now, part of that is going to be the strategies of companies like Ramp, projects like Ramp. They're opening a direct path now from Fiat into the Base network, which is interesting because this will get into a lot of things. Ramp will be able to support Base right from its inception, enabling transaction with ETH and USDC from day one. Big deal. The other aspect of this is it's going to open up Ramp into a lot of functionality of how this will interface for just traditional fiat onboarding. So just think about that and the potential for where this is going. All of this is good signs, definitely. I want to go over to a clip real quick and how Ramp works. Listen in. Now, I know some of you guys are probably listening on the podcast and go, Paul, you didn't say anything about how it works. Because it was a video, which is why you need to come over here to the YouTube channel and subscribe. This is where you need to catch it. But the video basically showed the interface of Ramp and the integration into banking, debit cards, all sorts of things. So think about your wallet directly into banks. That means no exchange, no fees, those kind of things start to play into the future of where all this is going. And I think, again, this is just another one of those examples of how this is going to play out for the Ethereum ecosystem. So this is a big part of this is ETH is what's running all of this. If you think about also optimism, yes, of course, many of you will start to say that in the comments. But the point is, this is a really good sign going forward. I want to show a couple of clips here. This one right here just showing further about Ramp, and I'll play this for you so you guys can see it. So just kind of goes in directly, you can kind of see how you can add a US bank account, very simple, and boom, you're in. That's essentially it. Obviously, it's got some other applications there by your state, all that sort of thing, but you can also do this with other applications around debit cards and be able to really interface in a lot of different ways. So very cool stuff. I think they're on something pretty interesting here. Another thing you can do with Ramp right here, you'll recognize this, enter your unstoppable domain URL as your wallet address. So you've got an unstoppable, you know, maybe you're a .crypto, you got a now you can even do .eth over there, an XYZ, whatever it might be that you want to use as your .NFT is the one I would use. But that's another easy way for you to integrate in. So good stuff. Again, all of this is going to be coming out pretty fast. Now, this is an interesting project that is called Moonwell. And think of this as lending for ETH. Now, we've seen lending projects and platforms out there for Bitcoin. This is a good example here of basically putting your digital assets to work. Some things they do, of course, right here. I'll just show you. Of course, you can go with Tether, USD, C, ETH, etc. Look at the supply and the borrow rates. Not bad. Again, I'm not telling you to use this platform. I'm just saying this is one that is going out on Base. And there's some interesting things with Moonwell as well. They're powered by Moonbeam Base and, of course, Moon River. So interesting stuff out there. We're probably going to be watching this token a little bit. It is very difficult to get to, just as a precursor for that. A little bit about Moonwell. You can kind of see the activity here on DeFi Llama. 43.39 billion locked in, but it is the #1 project right now overall. So this again gets into some interesting activities. If we're going to get on lending and stay with it, especially within Base and development of all these different kind of platforms, this may be an interesting one to watch very closely. So it is one we're keeping our eye on for sure. I want to go over to another clip here. This is going to be a good one. It talks a little bit about what Moonwell does and kind of expands a little bit further. Listen in.
So Coinbase has been quietly building for half a decade The person who created Coinbase Staking is Luke Youngblood. They've got Coinbase Ventures as an investor. The team is so Coinbase heavy, right? We've got investors, ex-employees, going to be going for that first mover advantage. But I'm very happy to see that this project is moving away from these parachains and from these smaller ecos and moving on something which could potentially be huge.
All right, so potentially be huge. Yes, you probably saw some of the investors in there. Arrington Capital is a good example. That's Mike Arrington. He's been involved in some of the biggest projects out there in crypto, also some of the biggest scams. He was involved in Luna. So just be aware, heavy laden with Coinbase team, pretty much the guy that started Coinbase Staking, all running on this. So there is a good probability that this could be one of the leaders coming out within the pack right here. Just looking at the market right now, you can kind of see the movement right here. The point is there is a lot of, there's some, I'll just say it, there's some dumping going on. But the point being is once we get past that, this could be one that could be a project to really take a look at as it goes forward. So just a quick look at the chart. Here's the price tab a little bit. You can kind of see what's happening there. But if you look at the market cap, obviously the movement here is a little bit of dumping going on. So once we get past that, that could start to open things up. You can get access by going over here and, of course, collaborating now with Moonwell on Base. So all of that meant get early access, all that good stuff. So there is some stuff out there for you guys to take a look at. All right, so here's another project, of course, Parallel. They are distributing starter decks that have 40 NFTs in them on Base. People who buy them can immediately go down and download those on Parallel TCG, and the beta and play using their own cards and start earning Prime. So there's some other benefits to this. That's just another project that's going out here. It's beginning to look a lot like summer. Of course, build on Base. This, of course, is the project that's starting to roll out. You can kind of see in a little bit here about what's happening over on Pixelmon. Another one that is starting to roll out on Base. These are more of these, think of those as the digital pets. And we'll kind of explain that a little bit of maybe some use cases here in a second. Further in here, this kind of showcases Atari setting our on-chain summer mood. Of course, they remember that Brian mentioned Atari, some of the legacy brands, but just brands that are more 2.0 rather than 3.0. So definitely some cool stuff there. And then, of course, here is Atari right here, where you can actually go in and act on this. So you can enter the club, the Atari club, and this will get into a lot of aspects that we're going to see more of, and that is the whole idea of, and I know some of this may be a lot for if you're brand new to crypto and understanding what this means, but think of this as the time in which the internet was created, and all of these new tool sets started making it able to use, and that's really what we're talking about. Here's utility. For the first time, there are brands that can start to utilize this kind of technology on a blockchain, think of blockchain like the internet, and be able to actually get utility that other people would like or see in value. So this is just another one in terms of joining the club with Atari. Another one, of course, big name, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's NFT auction on OpenSea fetched more than 575,000. They were the first ever NFT sold as a single asset, with proceeds benefiting the Special Olympics International. You can kind of see a little bit here on OpenSea, and these went for significant amounts of money. So the cool thing here is that Coke, of course, is a very tried and true brand, and the other aspect of this is they've chosen Base to use this on, and the ability of that is really kind of how Base is most likely going to pass all or check all the marks in terms of the regulatory requirements. Remember, there's no token for Base, it's a blockchain, so it's the technology that is driving under this that all these companies are starting to look at, and of course that having a connection obviously to Ethereum, which gets back into the whole reason why we think Ethereum is going to be huge. Here's Blackbird. This is a restaurant concept. We're thrilled to be participating on Chain Summer with Coinbase. Stay tuned for a cool Blackbird passes dropping soon. This is another aspect. We've already seen some use case in reservations and things like that within the restaurant industry. But Blackbird, of course, talking that they're going to be connecting you with world's the most exciting restaurants and going right into potentially something that will start to connect how they are communicating with their guests, and also maybe a future loyalty program, or access. I think the access is going to be the bigger component here, especially with some of these higher end restaurants. And we've kind of talked about this before around reservations, but there will be other aspects to how food and beverage brands really start to utilize NFTs and the use of this technology. So good news there, I think, for that industry as well. Here's Moso. They're excited to be one of the first to build on Base. Can't wait to see where the journey ends up. Here's a little bit about Moso in general. Think of this as your loyalty cards and also loyalty to credit cards. So here's, of course, Walmart coming in there. You can shop and earn cash back. There's AliExpress, Ulta, etc. And Mojo, of course, is driving that with Base. So you can see the integration, guys. They've been working on this for a long time. And the fact that it looks so mature in such an early stage is impressive to me. I think this is definitely something we'll be reporting on for quite some time. All right, so another one right here is Bonfire. What they have kind of been known for is their integration into creators to create NFTs. The other aspect of this could be a Discord killer because of its ability to basically curate and manage and also integrate and engage with fans and communities. So I think this is another factor that Bonfire kind of gets into. So make your Bonfire the center of your ecosystem, import drops, partners design custom pages for your site, embed content. You can do gated content over there with pages, all kinds of assets. You'll notice a lot of different projects right there. You can see Lens Protocol, Twitter in here, and others that I think are going to start moving into the Bonfire ecosystem and that project. But again, building on Base and the future there. So good stuff there. Here is a project called Fini. And this one is, of course, kind of interesting because it is back to that digital pets ecosystem. This is just showing a little bit about what they've done. And I'll just showcase a little bit there. You can kind of see how Fini would work. And basically it's reacting. Your digital pet would react to something that's happening on anything out there. It could be stocks, could be in this particular case, Ethereum or Bitcoin or Apple. You can kind of see it there. So that I think is just others that will really kind of show an opportunity for growth. AnotherBlock, of course, is one that goes into music. Music we've talked about. We've reported on AnotherBlock quite a bit when we kind of showed the evolution of Web3 for music. Here, of course, is AnotherBlock's post talking about building on Base, and they kind of reveal something here. It says our season finale will launch Base. We've got an exclusive lineup. Taking it back to our roots, multiple drops, minting the same day, getting ready for some unique collectibles. All this happens August 12th, so just in a few days. So more acceleration. A lot of stuff going in concert here for sure. Aragon, this is another project that is moving out. Let me play and show you a little bit more about Aragon here. So again, when you think about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, this is kind of helping the idea of governance, all those kind of things when you build these DAOs. This is an opportunity I think of maybe as like a Squarespace or a Wix for DAOs in general, but you can kind of see some of the ones that are participating. Here's Decentraland. Here's an API with Aragon. There's Avagachi, Lido, of course, and etc. But so you can kind of see there's people using this in launching their DAOs right now. So very cool aspects there as well. All right, so here's Reservoir, another project. Fairly easy to get started here on this, but basically what Reservoir does, let me kind of zoom in on this, makes it simple to not only get market data and orders, this all on NFTs, but execute and create orders directly through the API tools. So that'll be good for the NFT market. And again, data is really huge when it comes to NFTs because you need all that market data to be able to really understand the trading opportunities. All right, so this just shows you a little bit more on their website, aggregated from 100 marketplaces, multi-chain compatible, some working, some not. ETH, of course, obviously being the core here, but you can see Blur, OpenSea, and so on moving in it. So cool toolkit and an opportunity here for really breaking into the NFT categories as well. So very cool stuff, man. All right, so just to kind of round out here, Coinbase is doing something also to really accelerate growth, and that is, I think this is a cool, this of course is Together We Build. 100 builders, this happens between August 21st and 15th of September. Apply to 100 builders, so if you've got an idea, you're wanting to do something, you want to launch on Base, this is one of the ways you can do it. Another aspect within this is they're doing this with Nouns Prop House, which is distributing 100 plus ETH in grants for building and creating on Base this summer. And there's a few functions that you can do. You can do art, website, there's deploy a protocol, You can make a 1-minute video sharing your crypto story or on-chain using a case for advocating. That's a big one for sensible legislation. That's a good one. We probably should do that one. And then base accounts, build something that unlocks or improves user experience. So just another advantage for enticing a lot of the crypto community into Base. And I think that, again, pays off in the long run. And of course, when you think about what wins, is going to be ETH. Here, of course, is just showing some of the traction. Here's ETH exploding around the Base deployment. So good stuff out here right now. Coinbase, the stock, this is the max right now. It's been pretty depressed here recently, obviously because of the lawsuit with the SEC, but maybe this is a good time. I'm going to be watching this one very closely. Wrapping this up with Ethereum's price position, let's go over here. We'll take a look at the 1 hour just quickly of where ETH is right now. Has been adjusted. That's on Bitcoin. Let's take a look at ETH. So adjusted down a little bit here from the 1868 that we saw earlier this week down to around 1850. So again, not a lot of reaction to this on Ethereum yet. And I think still there's so many market scenarios that are playing out. We've got stablecoin news, all this stuff happening right now. And it's interesting of how stable the market has been. We haven't seen massive moves. We saw a little bit of a move this week, but not anything major and then a correction. So I'd love to get your feedback. How are you playing this market? Is this something you're going to go in and say, hey, this is when I'm looking at dollar cost averaging. This is when I'm looking at experimenting with new projects that I've just learned about. Or are you going in all on what's happening over on Base and many of these projects and protocols that are being built? Let me know. Drop some comments down below. If you are not part of the Diamond Circle, make sure and join now. It's very easy. We should probably build that on Base. But the cool thing is you can just click down below, join, and we do a lot of additional content over there, podcasts, some more additional data, some technical analysis, all that available to Diamond Circle members. And of course, if you want to reach me, it's out there on Twitter @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechBot.